Ever wonder how companies land on that perfect price? You know, the one that makes you think, yeah, that seems fair. That makes them a tiny profit too.
It's a real balancing act.
Well, get ready to dive deep into the world of pricing specialists. They're the masterminds behind those numbers. And trust me, it's way more interesting than it sounds. We're going deep on this one, using RoleCatcher's career guide as our roadmap.
And let me tell you, it's packed with surprises. Pricing is not just about spreadsheets and calculators anymore.
Okay, so let's ditch those old stereotypes, shall we? First things first. Who are these pricing specialists? Paint me a picture.
Imagine someone who thrives on digging through market data. They eat, sleep, and breathe numbers, always hunting for that pricing sweet spot. That's a pricing specialist in a nutshell. They're like detectives, really.
Detectives.
Yeah. They piece together clues from production costs, what the competition's doing, even consumer psychology. They use all of that to land on that perfect price point.
So it's not as simple as slapping a random number on a product and crossing their fingers.
Absolutely not. It's a strategic balancing act. You got to keep profits in mind for sure, but you also got to make it appealing to the customer. RoleCatcher actually gave a really interesting example. Did you know that pricing something at $9.99 instead of a straight $10 can significantly change how a customer sees it?
Seriously, a single penny makes that much of a difference.
It does. It's a psychological thing called charm pricing. It just feels more appealing, even though it's practically the same amount. And that right there is the kind of insight a pricing specialist brings to the table.
Wow, fascinating. Okay, so they're like mind readers, but with spreadsheets instead of crystal balls. Now I'm even more curious, what does their day-to-day actually look like?
Well, imagine this. One minute, they're knee-deep in sales data, crunching those numbers. The next, they're dissecting competitors' pricing models, trying to get a leg up. And forget peace and quiet because they're constantly in communication, collaborating with marketing, brainstorming with sales, always making sure the pricing strategy aligns with the company's big picture.
Something is never a dull moment.
You got it. Variety is the name of the game. RoleCatcher even highlighted how much people in this field love that dynamic, always changing environment. But of course, it's not always smooth sailing.
Right, every job has its downsides.
Exactly.
So spill it. What are some of the challenges a pricing specialist might bump into?
Well, as we said, it's fast-paced. You've got deadlines, budget constraints, maybe even a full-blown price war with competitors. Things can get pretty intense.
And you can't be afraid of numbers.
Absolutely not. One misplaced decimal point in a pricing model could have huge ripple effects.
Yikes. So it sounds like this role really takes a certain type of person. Someone who doesn't crumble under pressure, who actually enjoys a good challenge.
Someone who thrives on it.
Exactly.
And when you find those people, the ones who truly excel in this field, they can have a massive impact on a company's bottom line.
So big responsibilities, but also big rewards.
Yeah.
Speaking of rewards, I'm guessing those earning potential perks are pretty attractive.
You're not wrong. Companies know that a skilled pricing specialist is worth their weight in gold because they're directly affecting profitability. That's huge. And what's really great is there's a lot of room for growth, but we'll get into that a little later.
Okay, so we've got a good grasp on who a pricing specialist is, what they do. But how do you actually land one of these coveted positions? Because the job market, especially in the age of AI, is a whole different ballgame.
It really is. And RoleCatcher, they have some seriously fascinating insights into how AI is totally changing the way we even apply for jobs these days. Buckle up, because in part 2, we're diving into landing the job beyond the traditional resume. Get ready to navigate the world of AI and job hunting.
So we've talked about what a pricing specialist does, but how do you actually become one? Let's dive into part 2, landing the job beyond the traditional resume.
Because let's be real, in the age of AI, just hitting send on a generic resume, yeah, those days are over.
It's like throwing a message in a bottle and hoping for the best.
Kinda, yeah. You used to send out tons of resumes and just pray for a response.
Oh, tell me about it. It's brutal out there.
But AI is changing the game, big time. RoleCatcher talks about how many companies now use something called applicant tracking systems, ATS for short. It's basically like having an AI gatekeeper.
AI gatekeeper. So instead of a real person reviewing my application,
An algorithm does the first pass.
yeah.
They're programmed to scan for specific keywords, skills, anything that matches the job description.
So how do you stand out to an AI gatekeeper? What's the secret handshake?
You have to think like an AI. RoleCatcher recommends this 3-step process, and I gotta say, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, I'm all ears. Hit me with step 1.
understanding. You got to dissect that job description.
Dissect.
Yeah, like really break it down. What are the exact keywords they use? What skills are they emphasizing?
So you're basically cracking the AI code.
Exactly. And that takes us to step 2, tailoring. Now that you know their language, you tailor your resume to match.
Make the AI think, this is the one.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher actually has this cool tool that analyzes job descriptions and tells you the top skills to highlight.
It's like having your own personal AI resume writer.
Right. Okay, ready for step 3. This is the cool part, getting discovered.
Discovered.
Yeah. So RoleCatcher has this platform where employers can actually search for candidates based on their skills and experience.
So the jobs come to you. That's amazing.
That's the future of job hunting. You put yourself out there, highlight the right skills, and boom, employers come knocking.
Okay, but be honest. Does this mean I have to rewrite my entire resume from scratch?
Not necessarily. RoleCatcher actually has a tool for that too, the CV Resume Builder. It helps you create a tailored resume in like minutes, making sure you're using the right language and everything.
So you're telling me there's hope for those of us who aren't exactly tech wizards?
Absolutely. AI might seem intimidating, but it's all about using it to your advantage. And that, my friend, is what RoleCatcher is all about.
Okay, so we've talked about using AI to land the job. But what about the actual skills you need to wow them in the role of a pricing specialist? It's got to be more than just being a spreadsheet wizard, right?
You're telling me. Yeah, you got to have those analytical chops for sure. But RoleCatcher really opened my eyes to how many other skills come into play. Like communication is huge.
Makes sense. You're not just whispering numbers to yourself all day.
Right. You've got to be able to explain those pricing strategies clearly, concisely, persuasively to colleagues, clients, maybe even the CEO.
Yeah, get everyone on board.
Exactly. And then there's negotiation.
Oh, right. There's always going to be some back and forth.
For sure. You might be negotiating with suppliers, distributors, sometimes even directly with customers, finding that sweet spot, that win-win for everyone involved.
So you're not just a numbers person, you're a diplomat.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
And speaking of thinking outside the box, RoleCatcher really emphasized the psychology involved in pricing. Oh, yeah. Understanding how consumers perceive value, how the price influences their decisions, that's all psychology.
It's like you're getting inside the customer's head.
In a way. They gave this example of anchoring, where you present a higher price first to make the actual price seem more reasonable.
It's like those infomercials. But wait, there's more. We're slashing the price just for you.
Exactly. It's all about framing. Okay, so let's say you've mastered all this. You're a total pricing pro. What does the career ladder look like?
Yeah, where do you go from there?
Well, you might start as a junior pricing analyst, then work your way up to pricing manager, senior manager, maybe even director or VP of pricing. RoleCatcher has this whole trajectory laid out, and it's pretty impressive.
So there's definitely room to climb. But what if you want to, specialize? Find your niche.
Totally. You could become an expert in a specific industry, like tech or pharmaceuticals. Or maybe you become a guru in a certain pricing methodology. Or you could even master a specific type of pricing software. The possibilities are really pretty vast.
It's like choosing your own adventure.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking of adventures, RoleCatcher left us with this really thought-provoking question. What if AI starts playing a bigger role in actually setting the prices?
Whoa, hold on. We talked about AI screening resumes,
Yeah.
but setting the prices themselves.
It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Imagine algorithms analyzing mountains of data in real time. Market trends, competitor pricing, even individual customer behavior AI could use all of that to adjust prices on the fly.
So instead of humans crunching numbers, it's all algorithms.
Maybe not completely. I think human expertise will always be valuable, but AI could become like a super-powered assistant.
Okay, so maybe not a complete takeover, but definitely a powerful partnership.
Right. It's a fascinating and maybe slightly unnerving glimpse into the future.
It definitely makes you think. Well, there you have it. The intriguing world of pricing specialists. A big thank you to RoleCatcher for the insights.
It was a great deep dive.
And for our listeners, if you're looking for a career that's challenging, ever-evolving, and actually uses both your left brain and right brain, well, this might just be the perfect fit. Until next time, keep on diving.